Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Doom Podcast. This is episode 3, and today we have an interview with Red Wizard. Red Wizard is a band out of San Diego, California. They've been around since about 2010, and they have a few releases out. They have one on STB Records and also Ripple Music. Check both those labels out. They have some killer material. Just want to get off on the right foot or the wrong foot. I'm not really sure, but just a couple of mistakes in this podcast. I probably shouldn't have asked them how their tour was going. That was probably a mistake, and you'll hear why in the first few minutes. I also asked how they pronounce their latest album, and, you know, it's so weird. I was looking at Miles, and Miles has his big beard, and right away I thought the next band that was going to be playing was Greenbeard, and I had that and his beard and Greenbeard and Beardy Bearderson from Beardtown, and I asked them how to pronounce their album, which easily is Cosmosis, but I was thinking of the Greenbeard album Lodarodball. Is that how you pronounce it? Either way. That's why I asked that, and I just felt like an idiot. Also, I like talking about music and the equipment that each band member uses, and I referred to what Travis uses as a rig. I think that's just the wrong term. I meant to say about the harmonica because, you know, I've seen some other people play harmonica over time, and they seem to have a few of them, and I don't know a whole lot about it, and I just wanted to hear a little more. But Travis was gracious enough, and I think he understood where I was coming from, so he provided me with a really good answer for that. So, Red Wizard, great band, great live. You're going to hear a lot of interesting stories. They kind of turned the tables on me at the end of the interview. It's a little loud. It's a little chaotic. You can hear the band Stonewitch playing in the background. And like I said in previous episode, I believe you can hear the tour bus coming, or tour van coming up, and Greenbeard was just rolling up. I know they had some van trouble, and I hope those guys are doing great and just continuing touring and spreading it out to the masses. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you need to reach us for anything, and we're on social media, DoomToon Podcast, DoomToonPodcast@gmail.com. So here is the interview with Red Wizard. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DoomToon Podcast at the Yucca Tap Room in Tempe, Arizona. I am with the Red Wizard right now. Gentlemen, can you please introduce yourselves?
Travis Bockham.
I'm David Wilburn.
Miles Richardson.
So, guys, how long have you been on tour in this current extravaganza?
1 single day.
And how long are you going to be out for?
1 single day. We came out just to rock Tempe with our brothers, The Quest.
Really?
Yep, they were like, hey, we're going to be 6 hours away. You guys want to play with us? And we were like, we're there.
So where are you guys mainly located from?
We're from Oceanside, which is a county north of San Diego. It's about half an hour north of San Diego, so we just say San Diego County.
All right. And how would you describe your music?
Our music, I would probably best describe it as a pot full of different ingredients that one would take akin to liking on any occasion throughout the day of the week.
Interesting answer there.
Wow. What would you say?
I mean, I would have to agree with that, but it was well said. But in a less metaphorical sense, we're in a lot of different styles of music, and it's kind of hard to put your finger on, you know. But yeah, I would say power slop.
Power slop.
If you've seen fucking Airheads, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I mean, people like to just lump us into the stoner rock category, but I mean, like the boys are trying to explain, we're all over the fucking place.
I was telling you before, as soon as I heard your music, to me it sounded like a giant muscle car, huge engine block, wheels spinning, burning tires, fire, smoke. It's just...
That is so much better than our description. See, that's the type of music we are. Big tire with fucking smoke coming off of it.
Now, I do apologize because I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the album.
Cosmosis.
Cosmosis.
Yeah, like
okay.
osmosis, but with a lot of drugs.
Right on. So, speaking of, how does that affect your music and how does that affect your creating music?
Drugs?
Yeah.
You know, that's a very good question. I'll be perfectly blunt with you.
Right.
Yeah, I would say, you know, people say weed robs you of your ambition. That's absolutely true, unless your ambition is to play a bunch of music. And
Right.
we fall in and out of that, basically. So if you're a stoner, you know what I'm talking about. You got to focus on what is important to you. All the other drugs, acid can be really fucking great for opening up your mind. One of our earliest experiences, we all took acid together in our studio, and we had a fucking 7-hour journey together of fucking jamming, and that was pretty important to the band, I would say.
Now, did you hit record?
No, unfortunately. But you know what? That's just as important, because if we did record it and we listened to it back and, it sounded like shit, it would have ruined the whole thing, you know what I mean?
But did the trip make you more cohesive as a unit? Like, did you bond over that?
I'd like to think so. I mean, there's no definitive proof, but I think so.
Okay.
I think there's something to it of everybody being vulnerable in the mind and trying to make something happen together, create something bigger than yourself musically.
True. Now, speaking of the musical process, do the lyrics come first? Does the music come first? And who does who comes up with the majority, or is it a group effort?
Usually it's the music comes first for us. When we started off, we actually started as an instrumental band, and then we met our singer Travis at a house party, who was wearing the same Dio shirt as our lead guitarist Miles.
That's a good story.
And great story in itself, but...
We got time.
Yeah.
So pretty much, we get to this house party. We're an instrumental group. One of our Casey, our rhythm guitarist, was asked to play a house party by a friend.
Right.
In Carlsbad, the area that over by where we live.
Yep.
And so we go to play this house party, and as soon as we pull up, we're running a little bit late, but Travis is right there, like, hey, you guys need some help? Offers to help unload. We don't know this guy at all.
Right.
Offers to help unload, is happening to wear the same Dio shirt as Miles.
Nice shirt.
And then
Was it a Holy Diver? Or?
It was a Holy Diver one.
Yeah.
And so we play our set, and he's like, keep in mind we have no idea who this guy is, but he's rocking the hell out, and everyone's digging our set. And afterwards, he just starts talking to us about like Deep Purple, Motorhead, and shit like that. And Miles and Travis get into huge conversations. Turns out Travis just got he just got fired, fired from his last band. And we were looking for a singer, and he was looking for a new band to play.
Right.
He was a singer, and he happened to play harmonica.
Yeah, oh man.
So we invited him to play, just to come to a jam session with us, and like instantly from that moment on, he was the missing puzzle piece to the group. That's
sure. Awesome.
He showed up the next day with his PA system and lyrics and started laying shit down with us, and all of us were almost nervous. We were like, we've been an instrumental band for a while. We're like, is he in the band now? Like, I don't know. I guess. Fuck, it sounds good. Let's see what happens. And so here we are 10 years later, man.
You say instrumental band. What was the influence?
Back then, we were really into like more like groovy, funky kind of stuff. I know the Meters, yeah, for sure. With me and Miles.
For where we are now.
Yeah, we were more like
Surf rock.
yeah, really into surf rock, Meters. James Brown, Dick Dale for sure.
So it was more a funk vibe.
It was just more laid back than heavy
With
metal.
a surfer
for
undertone.
Sure.
We're playing Sabbath songs as an instrumental though.
Oh.
And those songs always seem to fucking kind of capture what we were trying to do. You know what I mean? Like with the audience and with us. And then we found Travis. He knew all the songs. Bing, bang, boom.
Wow. So, what were your early influences like when you were kids, growing up?
I mean, I think it all starts with what my parents, put in my brain. these long road trips of Dark Side of the Moon and, you know, Tom Petty and The Who, you know, total dad rock, but
Right. But it had an influence on you.
oh yeah, I mean the still does, you know, the only kind of music today that can still just grab you and be like, oh, I remember that one time I was swimming in a pool in like first grade and listening to like CCR on like the stereo, you know, you're like, what the fuck, I can't remember anything else from that time except for that, you know, and it's
It
probably
brings back the memory.
because of that song. Green River, I think.
Green River.
Yeah.
And I see you got a Ride the Lightning shirt on. Metallica fan, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean the first couple albums, anyways.
Right.
You know, my favorite, and
What would be a standout track for you?
from Ride the Lightning. I mean, you know, honestly, just because it's really not like a super popular one, Trapped Under Ice.
Freezing, yeah. That's killer, man. Trapped Under Ice
Yeah.
is great. So now with the current album that you have, how long did it take to create it?
You want to answer that one, David?
For Cosmosis, it probably, I mean, so since we first started as our Red Wizard, we still have a couple songs that haven't been recorded. And
Right.
so I would say a couple of songs on that record are from the very first songs that we written as together as a band, and then some were written towards the later choruses.
More or less in the studio, some of it.
Yeah, a
studio.
couple directly in the studio. Yeah, I wrote the intro riff for Cosmosis when we were doing like recording at MediaTek.
Yeah.
So you know, it was a total like as she went as it came. You know, it just went along as we were just doing our thing.
So were there any songs on this album that at first you were kind of a little against, or maybe one person was against, and the more it got fleshed out, it kind of changed to something that you really enjoyed?
You know what? Like David was saying, we had so many songs ready to go. We had a bunch of old ones, we had a bunch of new ones, and we just tried to choose the most cohesive album totally.
Right.
Because like, I mean, and as you know, as you can hear, you know, there's a lot of different influences on there. There's fast songs, there's slow songs, there's songs that sound a little punky or influenced, there's songs that are bluesy, and we just tried to make a tight package out of all of our influences.
It is a roller coaster.
It is, you
It
know,
really
and we
is.
tried to have a beginning and an end. You
Right.
know what I mean? I think that's really important in an album. And that's another thing, you know, we all grew up on, you know, like Travis said, dad rock and our father's albums and stuff. And, you know, we were listening to albums, not just one song
Right.
from a band. You know, we were listening for the start and finish of stuff.
Sure.
So I think that has a lot to do with it and how we, which songs we chose, really what came down to. We picked and chose what we thought would fit together the best. And we also do key a lot of times, you know, like start something in E, end the album in E, and then work our way through different keys in the middle, stuff like
Right.
that, you know. Try not to do everything in the same key. It's pretty important to us.
That brings me to another question. So I think I talked to you earlier, and I'd like to go around if we could. Could you tell me a little bit about your gear? You said you had something kind of special. Could you elaborate on that?
I have a 300-watt bass amp that I play guitar through, and it was made by a guy who lives not far from our hometown, about 20 minutes from our hometown. His name's Peter Licks, and he was building amplifiers in his, I don't know what even to call it, his studio workshop. And I mean, he had like 4 or 5 of them when I met him. I originally met him I met him through Travis to have my amp worked on that was broken.
Right.
And I just saw his collection and asked him if he was interested in selling his handmade amps, and he was honestly trying to get rid of them. He was like, I've been trying to sell these for years and nobody knows my name. And
So is this like a one of a kind?
one of a kind, absolutely.
Now, what does it do for your tone?
I think, you know, it just provides a uniqueness, if that's a word.
Sure,
I mean,
why not?
it's nice to know that you have an amp that nobody else has, you know?
Yeah.
Because every amp's, I mean, you can have 2 Marshalls that are exactly the same and they might sound a little different, you know?
Exactly.
It just comes down to the tubes, the electronics, you know, what's tight, what's welded right. Everything has to do with that. And so I'm stoked to have a one-of-a-kind hand-built amp, you know? And all the knobs go to 11, so I like that as well.
And yourself?
So right now I have a pretty like swap meet sort of style rig. I used to have a Carvin LS 1200 or something, LX 1200 or something like that. But it blew out on me, and so ever since then I was like, you know, in and out of jobs, and I didn't have much pay, so I went to Guitar Center and got a used head. We don't even know the brand or the make of the model. The manufacturer is missing on the entire head.
Really?
But I played through it, and it was actually a guitar head. I played through it, and it had really good tone. And so I bought it. It was like $150.
Sure.
I liked the tone out of it, but it didn't have enough like heaviness and not enough low end.
Right.
And so I went on Craigslist and found a bass head, just some cheap bass head on Craigslist. Went out, played it at the guy's house. It sounded good to me. It had that low end that I wanted.
Right.
And so right now I'm using the used guitar head that I bought from the shop as a preamp to give me more mids and highs, and I'm using that to go to the bass head, which is running my speakers, and I have 115 and 4 10s, 2 cabinets right now.
Got a lot going on there.
Yeah, so
And it's a word to the wise.
My rig's pretty crazy. I'm like a total mad scientist.
This rig, you're gonna see that?
Yeah, it's my entire rig's like around 500 total.
It's like handpicked, but you did your research. You found what you needed to find, and it sounds great.
I can make it sound really good. That's the best part. So, and that's all I need for now.
All right.
And it's, you know, that's the thing too. Like, I'm not too worried about it breaking because I've invested such little money to it. But I'm doing good. It's been treating me pretty well so far. I'm doing
Killer.
what I'm
Right.
making it work. That's the best way to put it.
And sir, your kit?
Harmonicas?
Well, I mean, I like singing through my own microphone too. I use an electro voice, like the Zach Wild well, it sounds good for harmonica too, but
Right.
The dynamic whatever mic with the flat screen, it's pretty nice. But for harmonica, it's more of a complicated thing. I got a 1976 Bassman combo cabinet, and I have it modified to the 1968 specs. They call it black facing.
Right.
Your silver faced Fender, you black face it, so it's like the same as an older one. And then I have it modified to where the low boost switch on it actually gives it a mid boost and all kinds of stuff that this guy Peter that built Miles' amp.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the guy who found him and had him do all this work for me.
He was our wizard.
But
He retired.
I mean, I got a bunch of different harmonica rigs, but basically I like using that one with my this vintage microphone I got off eBay, harmonica mic. It's a bullet mic, and I don't know, it sounds pretty good.
It sounds really good.
Oh, thank you.
So, what are we looking forward to tonight? I want to ask you about tonight. Let me ask you about previous shows. Do you guys ever do covers?
Yeah, we've done covers. I mean, over the years, I think it's pretty general. A lot of bands start out doing a lot of covers, you know, figuring out what you like. And then most bands, I think, or I'd like to think, slowly start, you know, whittling it down, less covers.
Right.
And that's kind of what we do. We might do like one cover a show now, if that, you know, if any. Every once in a while, if we're drinking and having a lot of fun, and we might do 2. But most of the time, we try to keep it a 1 or none. You know, we try to play what we play, but you know, sometimes a cover will win the audience over. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you might get the guy at the back of the bar to the front real quick, and then he might listen to the new song. So, I mean, and as far as we go on covers, I'm sure that's your next question. It's been like Black Sabbath, Deep
Yep.
Purple,
Yep.
Blue Oyster Cult, Budgie.
Have you heard Electric West? They're doing a killer version of Highway Star.
Oh yeah. These guys, you have to understand, the Great Electric Quest are our brothers. We grew up in the same town. We played this. We both started up the same time. They practice in our kitchen. You know,
Wow.
like the Red Wizard kitchen is almost a legend in itself. Because you know, there's so little studios, rehearsal studios where we're at.
Sure.
And we lived on this big property together, little house, big property, and we had this kitchen set up. You know, with the drums always set up, and so other bands would come and practice.
Yep.
So it was like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, it was our band. You know, you might have the Quest on a Thursday, you might have Bedlam's Edge on a Friday. You know, who knows? We might have a big party on the weekend. It was pretty wild times. Yeah, huge pile of dirty dishes stinking up the whole practice area.
So with that, you've got, like I said, you've got your release out. I'm assuming you have an album out. It's in album form.
Yeah.
How important is that to today's culture, like in the stoner rock genre, or in this genre of music?
You know, I'd like to think that I'm a stoner myself and a fan, and I'd like to say for any stoner fan musician that like getting something on wax is pretty awesome. You know, like it's a dream come true. You know, it's awesome to hold a physical piece of your music and you know, have that accomplishment in your hands. But at the same time, it's fuel. It's like, okay, we did this. Like, what's next? You know, like how far can we go now?
Right. Now, why do you think there's such a resurgence in that?
I think it's because the mainstream music in general and you know, shows that are promoted heavily on TV or newspapers, they aren't heavy music.
Right.
And I think it's just a reaction. You know, the swing, it goes both ways. You know, you start getting into really basic music, the next thing you know, you like really advanced music.
Right.
And I think that's what it is in general. You know, people are tired of the dance and the club music, and they want something heavier, a little more reflective of the times, perhaps, a little more reflective of life and not so carefree.
They're tired of the bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. A little more real, you know? And I don't think it gets more real than heavy music. I mean, that's why it's heavy.
And as you're mentioning this, another band has just pulled up here.
This is Greenbeard.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
I ran over by Greenbeard. They're supposed to play in like 20 minutes. They're right on time.
They're right, perfectly on time.
Yeah, awesome. They made it.
They finally made it. Yeah, we're in a deluxe studio out here.
Yeah, we're in a beautiful Tempe, Arizona, outside of the Yucca Tap Room. Actually, it's a super nice night. I'm stoked to be here tonight. We've been here a couple times, and I think both times, or maybe three, or how many times have I been here? 3 times? Twice?
This is our 3rd time.
So it's usually hot as hell, and it's super nice tonight.
Oh, it's a gorgeous night.
Fall in Arizona, that's what I'm talking about.
So let me ask you all, what do you have going on for 2018?
Hopefully we'll be hitting a spring tour up to Portland, I'm hearing. There's this shindig going on in Portland, and I guess the Quest might be heading up there.
Right.
If they do, we might be heading up there with them. So we might do a Quest Wizard tour up to Portland. Other than that, we don't really have much, as far as I know, that's going on next year. But we're just, you know, that's almost a good thing too, because next year's gonna be awesome no matter what comes. I know we're gonna kick some ass.
You know,
did we mention that this guy just beat blood cancer right here?
Seriously?
Yeah, I just survived. I beat lymphoma. I was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I finished my chemotherapy treatments in July of this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So
and now,
if you see a lot of shows from Red Wizards, because we're hungry. David's hungry.
So this month is the busiest we've been since the past 2 years.
You've been struggling.
I've been going through my whole deal.
Well, congratulations,
so it's been a while,
man.
and it's fucking great to be here.
It's great to be alive.
Yes, it is.
That's wow. I was telling a story earlier, something similar, and yeah, it's an amazing thing when you go through something so rough, and I bet your family and friends, they're all pulling for you.
I've had the absolute best support through the music scene.
Yeah.
And the music scene is my family, part of my family. I do include a lot of the people who come and see our shows as family.
You know how that goes, Chris.
Yes, I do. I had a heart issue. I'll kind of leave it at that for now. Maybe I'll talk about it another time. But
it kind of makes music that much more important, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's so freeing, and it gives you a sense of community, and you know, in a way, you know that you're cared about.
For sure.
See what we did there? We flipped the interview.
I heard that. I caught that. I was like, damn. I wasn't gonna say anything, but
gotcha.
I got it. You got it out of me. Yeah. So, while you're here, because I've asked a couple other bands this, and you know, sometimes I'll ask a weird question or not. Do you have any Netflix binges?
Oh man, don't get me started. I can't stop watching Netflix and Hulu. Bong and Lap, Trailer Park Boys. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I always wake up and go to bed with it.
Get it while you can. You're going off of Netflix.
I know, that's why I got Hulu. I'm like, fuck that, you know. I need my It's Always Sunny. I need it.
I've never seen a bigger bunch of degenerates than that show.
It's the best. Yeah, it's the best. There are degenerate heroes. I watch a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO Go. I love Larry David. The social assassin, never scared to say something that offends him or bothers him.
It's just constantly cringeworthy.
Oh, I love it. Fuck, I could go on, man. Vice principals. I mean, Eastbound and Down. I mean, I'm a stoner. I like to sit and watch. If I'm not playing guitar, you'll find me on my couch.
Right.
You know, getting stoned and watching TV, more or less. It's sad, but it's true, man. I love to binge watch. So, David, do you like to binge watch? What do you like?
Honestly, I haven't been watching much of anything quite recently. I know everyone's been getting into like the Stranger Things, and
Right.
I haven't even spent a second watching it. Or
It's a great
not
show.
even the trailers. I've been busy doing artwork recently, and I just made a custom artwork for tonight's show. Here you go.
Look him up.
It's a little pocket poster for you.
Killer.
So I have like my own brand, which is like Wilbs. So all of the art and media that I produce, because I do music videos and stuff like that too.
Right.
So everything that I produce is under Wilbs, and it, whatever happens with that.
And we gotta get you're on social media for that, right?
Yeah, I have my own
We gotta
page.
get that. We gotta put that on.
Yeah, for sure. So my thing is like right now I'm trying to make gig posters for every show that we're playing with Red Wizard.
Right.
And so that's my favorite one so far. I'm really proud of that one for this show tonight.
So are you the creative director for the merchandise, or is it a group effort?
I'm like manager of merch.
Yeah, he is.
Merch and media, because I made our website,
Right.
redwizardofficial.com.
Right.
And then I take a lot of pictures and do music videos, and I've recorded us on tours, like playing sets and stuff like that. I'm going to get more into that, but right now, recently, I've been really busy with artwork, and I'm super stoked on that.
Awesome.
Been doing good. Yeah.
Well, guys-
I have so much ambition. No one can literally conceive it, because, yeah, I just have ambition. I don't care what else is going on.
You know what? You got a new lease on life, dude.
It's true,
and
yeah.
now you just take it to the hilt.
There's no limit now. The only limit is stuff that I literally can't control.
Right. Yeah.
But that's it, man. I'm doing great. I really am, and so I'm.
Well, be
freaking
blessed.
stoked.
Be blessed, my friend.
Thanks.
Well, guys, thank you so much for this interview.
It's a lot of fun.
But I do have a quick
Appreciate it.
question.
Yep.
I'm going to be interviewing somebody else.
Oh yeah, I like this.
What is the question that you want me to ask the next artist I interview?
Do we each get one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I want to know what's the worst bathroom you've had to take a shit in on tour.
Okay.
I know it's a strange question, but I ask people, my brother's on the road all the time, and I'll see them. I'll be like, "What was a band you saw that you blew your mind?" But the funniest ones are always like, "What's the worst bathroom?"
Well, look, you're here at Yucca Tap Room.
I
don't know if
took
you've
a
seen-
shit here. They didn't have a stall door, but that's nothing. That's nothing compared to.
See,
I mean, our hometown bar that we used to frequent had no stall door, so we're okay with that.
There is another bathroom over there with a nice door, single use. You get to spread your legs and take it easy.
Of course, I went to the venue bathroom. Yeah. What about you, David? What's your question, man?
That's a tricky one. I guess I would say, what would be the worst breakdown or like accident, vehicle accident that you've had on the road? Because if you're touring, if you're on the road, it's bound to happen. And we have a really bad one that we went when we went to tour to Texas. Mega disaster breakdown, 600 miles outside of Austin.
Oh my God.
Nearest tow truck was 2.5 hours
Horrible.
away.
So I would like to hear another band's
wanna hear somebody top that
insane breakdown story.
Because I seem to see a lot of times when people are posting on social media, seems like wherever the tour is, there's a flat tire.
Yep.
There's a
It's
belt that's blown.
something.
There's a transmission that blew.
Something. So
It ain't a tour unless you got to struggle.
let's hear what you guys got. Let's hear the worst of it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you so
appreciate it,
much.
man.
It's a
This was
pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Best of luck in 2018, and we will see you soon.
Hell yeah. Rad.
Thanks, everybody, for staying for the end of this. I've tried to record this a bunch of times and have screwed it up royally. Sometimes the mouth just doesn't want to move, I tell you. Anyway, there is a tour coming up, Year of the Cobra. They're doing a couple of West Coast dates, so if you haven't gotten your chance last year to check them out, 2018 is your year, if you're on the West Coast at least. They are based out of Seattle, Washington. It's a doom duo. I saw them a couple of months back, and they just destroyed. So if you need to see some loud amps in the face and just a great show, check them out. Also, Beerwolf has a release. They're out of, I believe they're out of Tampa, or I know they're out of Florida. And they had a release called Planet Fall. Really jammy, stoner vibe, a little Sabbathy influence, and a lot of riffs, a lot of great riffs. really great to drive around in. I've had it in my car for a while now. Also, if you're more on the black metal, experimental, noisy, doomy side, there's a band out of Florida called Absolver. And, you know, it's interesting because every once in a while you get a band and you think it's going to be one thing and it comes out to be another. I was so surprised at how good this was. And it just in terms of it's a different style. And they might be creating something completely new in the genre. And I can't wait to see some new stuff from them. They just released a couple of new songs, and they also have a release called Oscillate Thy Tongue and Howl at the Sun. So if you have not checked them out, do so. Give them a chance. And I cannot wait to see them live. Hopefully I'll get a chance to have them even on the podcast one day. So oh, wow, I think I made it. I think I made it and didn't screw up too much. All right, cool. Okay, so let's talk about next week. Next week, Great Electric Quest. It was a fun interview. It was crazy in the beginning, and then it kind of died down. I'll go into all the reasons why next week. So until that time, enjoy your holiday season. Enjoy your loved ones. If you get a chance to catch a show, do so. And, just be safe out there. All right. We'll talk to you next week.